Hello and welcome to the Vlogging Pod. Tonight we are joined by Shellie Schmal. Welcome to the room, Shellie. How are you this evening?
Oh, I'm doing great. It is a sunny day here in Atlanta, Georgia. And yeah, just exciting things going on. So thank you for having me on your show.
Oh, my pleasure. Now, I recently heard, now you were a director of community for Stage 32, but I just recently heard that you changed positions. Tell me a little bit about that.
So I am freelancing now. I've always had since 2006, I've had my own company called, I've played around with the name a little bit, but Von Schmalhausen LLC. And really, I started it in 2006 as a way to kind of work on my side hustles. And throughout the years, it's the existence of Von Schmalhausen has helped me really find my passion for the entertainment industry and really kind of hone in on what where I want to go with my career. So it's given me the opportunity to take on projects that help forward, both my like creative passions, my community passions, my commitment to artistic endeavors, and help me kind of create my own curatorial voice. And so that's kind of what I'm taking the opportunity to do now is work on. I am in let's see, in June, curating and producing again my fifth annual middle age cabaret, which is for burlesque and kind of any performer that's over the age of 40. And then in November, I am launching my very first burlesque and film festival called Film Strip Fest. So it's going to be a 2 day
Nice.
event. Yeah, and then this also gives me the opportunity to do a lot of like my passion projects with a lot of the things I volunteer with. So I'm so grateful for Stage 32. But I'm just, I'm very excited about all these other things I'm doing as well.
Wonderful. Now, we are going to go a little bit deeper in those few things that you mentioned, but hold that thought until I
Yes.
get to it. Because I did make note. I am on your Instagram and everything, so I did pull some things up. So I do want to go to those. But first, let's talk about the Atlanta Jewish Film Festival. Tell us about your part in this. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I? Okay. Are you there? Are you there, Shelley?
Oh, yeah, I'm here. I don't know what happened. I don't know how to silence my phone. A
You're
phone call.
Oh, yeah, you're fine. I
I'm
didn't hear
so
it on my end.
sorry. Okay,
No,
I
you're
was
fine.
just like, okay. Oh, great.
Do
So
you want me to ask you the question again?
yes, please. I'm so
Okay.
sorry.
No, you're fine. Um, let's talk about the Atlanta Jewish Film Festival. Tell us your
Yeah.
part in this.
So I started really as a volunteer with AJFF way back in like 2006, 2007. First, I was a volunteer on the young professional side with programming, and actually, I predated that by going to one of the first festivals way back in like 2000, 2001. But I was a volunteer who was a speaker who actually introduced and did a panel for the film was called Funny Ladies, and it was with Donna Cantor in whatchamacallit. It was a fantastic documentary with Jessica Curson and a couple other female comedians just talking about what it meant to be like a Jewish woman in comedy. Um, and then I began seasonally in 2012 for the 2013 festival, and I worked kind of on the vendor production side. But by 2014, I mean, I've been in the Jewish community in Atlanta working professionally for, in some way, shape, or form for almost 25 years. So when they had an opening and there was an opportunity to, come on full time with AJFF, I was so excited because it really did marry my interests of community building and the entertainment industry. And I learned so much at AJFF. I loved, my role was really film programming. So in film, specifically film acquisition. So I was talking to filmmakers all the time, talking to them about their projects. Some people, had projects ready to submit. Some filmmakers we followed for years until, their project was done and they could submit to the festival. And that was so much fun. And I was able to make fantastic relationships with both filmmakers and also distributors. Concurrently with that, I also worked with our community and helmed our film evaluation committee. And that was about 200 volunteers over a 6 month period who watched films and helped, kind of figure out like what the voice of the festival was going to be. What films we would, help narrow us down what films we'd present. So, from that perspective, I really learned how a film festival is essential in the ecosystem of marketing for films. I always encourage filmmakers, if you've got the opportunity and you've got the drive, like go the festival route. And then that also, my role spanned just beyond the film festival season itself, but also with year round programming. So I was, part of our team in creating these year round programming events and figuring out what was special. I was the project manager for an amazing event that we did in 2018 called Cinebash, which was a film art party that we did in collaboration with the Atlanta Contemporary. And it was, we had, almost, I want to say like almost 300, 400 people there. It was in celebration of Saul Bass, who, if you're familiar with the design of film posters, from the 50s and 60s and a lot of Orson Welles films. He's really, he really designed that like color blocking aesthetic.
Mhm.
And he was, a champion and a very skilled graphic designer, logo designer. It was such a fun party. And it was for me, it was a dream because I was able to, coordinate and collaborate with the arts community. And so
Right.
being able to, bring different artistic mediums together is a passion of mine.
Right, I can see that. So let's talk about something that you're doing on Instagram, older and bolder. You're doing what? You're interviewing people scheduled once a week of mutually convenient time. Shellie and her guest interviews last for up to 15 to 20 minutes. Tell me about this, the older and bolder.
Sure, that's an opportunity where I'm interviewing burlesque performers and
Hmm.
pinup models who are over the age of 40. And, another thing that I'm very passionate about is kind of fighting against the stereotype of ageism. And knowing that, like, people are sexy at every age. Some people don't, find get into their groove until they're after 40. And so it's really fun to be able to interview specifically for me, because those are the things I'm interested in, burlesque performers and pinup models and find out like how they got into it. Like where did their journey start? And everybody has different stories. And I also give them the opportunity to shout out some of their shows and to talk about their advice as well, because everybody's got different perspectives and different, ways they came to the stage. And so it's been really fun. I did my first season last year, kind of leading up to the Middle Age Cabaret. And that's what, and I've started again this year to help ramp that up too. So it's really fun. And I've gotten to meet a lot of cool people along the way.
Nice. I actually do like burlesque. I find it very interesting. I love the retro versions where they actually pinpoint a year in their performance. I find it very intriguing. I don't know
Yeah.
why, but I really do. I always love that type of theater. You know
Well,
what I mean? That
I
kind of
think
portrayal.
Yeah, I think it's because, there's obviously the pageantry of it all and, the
Yes.
spectacle of burlesque. But there's also storytelling. I mean, even, I don't know, do you watch the Marvelous Mrs. Maisel?
Um,
Um,
Mm,
Or
yes, I have seen that, yes.
okay. So in her last season, she was basically the host she was doing her stand-up comedy and being a host at a burlesque hall in New York. And it was just so cool to see the way that like they interpreted burlesque in the 50s and 60s and really being able to show burlesque in a very positive and accepting light. Like a lot of times people, on mainstream media don't give much attention to burlesque, but I really love the way they highlighted it on the show.
Yes, I agree with that. I think I've often went on YouTube and looked it up and just watched show after show. It's very intriguing, and some of them really do put on a large scale show. I mean, it's so artistic. It's not just
Hmm.
you know what I mean? It's not just the flash of pan here or there. It's really artistic. I love it. I love watching it, to be honest with
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Yeah, I have to get you out to see a show.
you. So, tell me about November 4th and excuse me, November 4th and the 5th, Film Strip Festival. Wow, can you share the details?
Yeah, so I mean, I feel so fortunate that I'm working with a venue who is, Red Light Cafe has been such a champion for burlesque in the community in Atlanta. And they're, game for just trusting me to do something new. It's really, I haven't seen another festival like this where I really want to bring the film industry and the burlesque industry together.
Mhm.
It's going to be 2 days. The first day, there will be two shows, and each show will have like a half an hour of short, not half an hour, first act short film, second act burlesque. And then on Sunday, we've got two jury awards that we'll give out, one for film, one for burlesque. We'll have a curated piece that will be a film and a burlesque performer that the burlesque performer will be performing kind of along with and inspired by a film, and then we'll have a couple of table reads and maybe a couple of international burlesque performers, videos as well. So it's, and I'd like to do, and that's a show. But in the morning, I'd like to do a networking event for people in the film industry and people in the burlesque community to meet each other. My thought that I've kind of been ruminating lately is that if you're new and you're working on a short film, you'll have no better people to collaborate with than the burlesque community. Burlesque performers know how to do everything and do it well and do it inexpensively. So if you need a partner that can do makeup and costumes and set design, that's burlesque. And so I
Yes.
feel like there's not enough communication between the two art mediums for them to be
Mhm.
able to mix and meet. And so fortunately, I'm working with a fabulous partner, Film Impact Georgia, and they're helping like they're coming on to the event to partner and to help promote. And Film Impact Georgia is a fantastic organization that champions independent film in Georgia. So, and they give out, I think quarterly, they give out grants to
Mm,
filmmakers. So
nice.
so this is really an opportunity to, I want to elevate burlesque and, give people an opportunity who may have never thought that they can have it into the entertainment industry and, like an introduction.
Mhm. Right, I get
um,
that.
Yeah, and so I've got some fantastic jury members as well that I'm just in the midst of confirming. So you can keep looking at my Instagram as I, roll this out in the next couple of months or next couple of
Wonder
weeks. Yeah.
Wonderful, I'll keep stalking you, as I tell everybody, I stalk you, yes. So let's talk current and past recent work. The Golem, Storms of the South, released in 2022. Give us a feel
Mhm.
about this project.
So this is was such a labor of love. I was so fortunate to have an amazing collaborator, Louis Kuiper, who was the director and the writer and director of the Golem. And it's a show that is based, around Hanukkah. The Golem is kind of a mythical creature in the Jewish community made of clay that the community builds together when there is a crisis at hand. And the golem's kind of like our superhero that like comes in, but he also, um, goes kind of can go kind of crazy too. So Louis wrote this fabulous story, and it was our first foray into directing immersive theater. I love immersive theater as well, and that comes from my love of storytelling and improv and interacting with the audience. And so we built this whole little world at the Distillery of Modern Art that was like basically like late 1800s, early 1900s Jewish Brooklyn. And we had actors who were in in character all, all night long. And the way that immersive theater goes is that the actors interact with the audience, and there's certain beats that everybody comes together, and then there's more interaction, and then and so the whole event was so fulfilling, and we had a really strong audience there who got it, and they were into it. Um and it's something, this is a project that like we'd like to bring back every year, similar to A Christmas Carol. There can always be tweaks to the story to make it new. There can always be a different kind of golem. There can always be different characters in our marketplace. So it's really, it was a really, really fulfilling project. And I'm so grateful for Louis for kind of, taking an idea that I had, and just running with it. So yeah, it was a fabulous team that we were able to work with.
Right. Well, that sounds awesome. We have like 3 minutes on the clock because we do a 20-minute podcast. So I want to try to get in this last couple of questions if we can. Even if we go over a little bit, that's fine, Shelley.
Okay, cool.
Middle Age Cabaret releasing June 2023. Tell me about that.
So this is the fifth year that I've been doing the Middle Age Cabaret, and last year we sold it out. It was amazing. I had performers flying in from Vegas, from let's see, we had somebody from Washington, somebody from a performer from Tennessee, and this is really my avenue to uplift performers that are over 40. We had both burlesque and drag, puppetry and comedy, and it was really a wonderful way to spotlight performers and showcase that people over 40 are not dead yet. um, and that creativity comes at every age, and a um, it's not something that's always highlighted. So this is my opportunity to kind of shine a little light on our middle age and performers. So it was so much fun, and I'm really looking forward to doing it again.
Right. Well, that's fantastic. So we still have a lot of 2023 coming. So tell me what else is on your forecast for this year.
Sure. So I do a lot of volunteering in the community, and in the industry. So one of the boards that I'm on is Women in Film and Television, where I'm VP of Programming. I'm currently working on our programming tracks. So this means that through Women in Film, which, our mission is to elevate and uplift people in the creative media industries. We've got a screenwriting, a screenwriting, a script supervising, and acting workshops coming up in, let's see, I want to say like April, May, and June. So I'm working on programming those. I'm also the producer for this year's Women in Production summit that's taking place in September through Women in Film and Television, and so I'm very excited about that. We'll be showcasing our short film. We'll be highlighting our short film showcase that weekend, and I'm hoping that we'll be able to bring in some filmmakers, from other states who will come in for the Women in Production Summit as well. So that's pretty exciting. And then I also coordinate for Dragon Con our Women in Film Production panels that we do. Um, and so let's see, I'm on the Georgia Production Partnership Board where I'm membership chair, and it's recently membership month. So we've got that going on. And GPP exists to make sure that our tax credits stay in Georgia. And so
Nice.
that's really important, and our organization really helps make sure that we've got people to lobby for those tax credits, because we want to keep our the studios open and
Well,
productions
yes.
coming here, because that's what propels our economy. And so I'm putting together once every other month mixers, and I've got such wonderful colleagues on my board. Kimberly Raybon, who is our industry relations chair, she and I work very closely together, working on the panels and the membership mixers for that. And then also I'm on the Film Festival Alliance Board, where I'm a film advocacy, or not, I'm sorry, field advocacy
Mhm.
chair, and that's working to, both help out and advocate for the film festival professionals, but also, going out into the public realm and to, public organizations and industries to kind of help elevate the film festival message, within the, kind of with a focus of like the streamers and other places where we sometimes our festivals get caught up and aren't always provided access. So sometimes films will get bought up by a streamer and it's no longer, even though it might not be streaming for 6 months, you've got to figure out its festival run if that's something that the director wants to do. So, like looking for ways that we can, help out in those arenas.
Nice. It sounds like you have full it's no wonder that you had to compartmentalize from Stage 32. I know Stage 32 was a great successful point for you, but it seems like you have so much already going on. I'm surprised you were able to do Stage 32 as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that are going on in life. So it's all good, and I'm just very excited for everything that's on my plate right now.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the show tonight. You were an absolute delight. I love listening
Oh,
to you.
thank you so much, Arian. Thank you so much for having me on your show. I mean, you yourself, you're such a hero and champion in the industry, and
Oh,
so thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
my pleasure, and thank you for the compliment. I want to thank once again our listeners for joining us tonight. We've had several in the room. Thank you again for joining us each and every day. Until next time, bye bye for now.